everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to be packing my pack full of all the mandatory gear and everything that I take with me on an ultra. So I'm going to be showing you what I take with me, but also where everything goes. So I've got easy access to everything, so I know where everything is. Firstly, thank you to everyone. I put a poll out on my YouTube for people to vote for what they wanted the next video to be, and you guys said this one, so thank you so much for everyone that contributed to that. So yeah, let's get right into it. I hope you enjoy. Right, first things first, what I like to do is to pack all of my, what I consider emergency gear, or the stuff that I am not really planning on using throughout the race, but is on the mandatory kit list for most races. So anything kind of like 50 miles and up. So I think these are great. This is like a dry bag. This is a 3 litre one from Exped, and you can just put all your stuff in there, seal it up, and then you can just forget about it. You know that all that stuff's in there. So first thing I'm going to put in this dry bag is my base layer. So this is pretty much, you'll find this on every mandatory kit list. This one is a La Sportiva, I don't know what it's called, troposphere maybe, but it's kind of like really nice and warm. So I'll just pack that up and then roll it up nice and small. And it doesn't count if you start the race in a long sleeve top, you have to have another long sleeve top. So it is a spare base layer in case you get into trouble. So that goes in there. Next thing, bottoms. These are just like 2XU leggings. Everything I'm doing here is pretty much like as bad as it gets in terms of mandatory gear. So I'm just trying to show you that you can pack everything in if you need to. So that's leggings going in, gloves. Some races will specify that they need to be waterproof. These ones actually are. These are some Innovate ones, like mittens. And what I really like about these is that they've got these little loops, like children's gloves. So if you're walking along and you need to get access to stuff, you don't have to like take your gloves off and stuff them in your pocket. You can just go like this and do whatever you need to do. So yeah, really like those, and they pack up really small. I don't really tend to get cold hands, so I will pack these in my emergency bag because I know I'm not really going to use them. But if you get cold hands or have bad circulation, then maybe put those somewhere a bit more accessible. Waterproof trousers. These are just the Salomon Bonatti Pro, Bonatti, whatever, I don't know. They're a unisex. I think these are at size small. They're pretty big, but like, it's, again, waterproof trousers is one of those things where I'm not going to use them unless it's absolutely chucking it down, or if it's a very long race. So they go in there too, because I'm hoping to not need them. First aid kit. I just kind of make my own with a foil blanket. These normally come with your race vest pack thing. Bandage, like a self-adhesive bandage, so you don't need safety pins for this, it just kind of sticks to itself. And if you're doing mountain races, sometimes they specify a specific width and length that it needs to be, so check that before you put it in. Antiseptic wipes, plasters, and then some cash. I've got some euros and some pounds, depending on where in the world I am. So I just put those in like a little Ziploc bag. So some races they'll specify that you have to have a first aid kit, others won't. I would definitely recommend that you have something, like even if it's just a couple of plasters, because all of this stuff, it's not just important for you, it's important if you come across someone else who's in trouble. So if you think that you'll be fine, it doesn't mean that you won't come across anyone else that is in need. Next thing, spare calories. So some races mandate that you have a backup number of calories, kind of between 200 and 400. So I just chuck a couple of gels in there that are 100 calories. Emergency light source. This is a Petzl E-Light. It's super light. I just keep it in this thing, but you can obviously take it out. and then you'll have your proper like main head torch, which I'll put in the pack, and then a backup battery for my main head torch. But again, I'm hoping, or I would be hoping, that I won't need to break into that. Other thing, sometimes in European races or races where you go into different countries, which isn't really that often, but like the UTMB for example, you have to have some ID with you. Also, it just helps in case you do get into trouble, in case someone needs to identify you. And then lastly, a warm hat. But I'll put that at the top because out of everything, that's probably the one that I'm gonna need. And then once everything's in, you can kind of push it all down, get all the air out of it, and then tie it up, click it in place. And then that is all your emergency gear. So this, I actually put in the zip pocket of my Salomon S-Lab 12 set. Zip that up. The easiest thing I find is to just like put it on, and then you can kind of pack everything around it and just make sure that it's comfortable. Right, bottles. Most of you know already, or if you've seen my other video, oh, I can't speak today. Most of you know already, if you've seen my other videos, I use these Hydro Pack soft flasks rather than the Salomon ones because they don't leak, and the neck is a lot wider, which makes it a lot easier to fill up your bottles when you're coming into an aid station, because most of the time someone's filling it up like with a jug or like out of a spout thing, and it just gets everywhere. It's very normal now for a cup to be on the mandatory kit list, just in terms of it being a lot more environmentally friendly, just reducing waste on plastic cups and things. So I use this. It's a Hydro Pack speed cup, and it just folds into, you can just scrunch it up into nothing. So I stuff that in my little sidey zip pocket, and then along with that, if I'm out for a long time, I will probably take this cup as well, which is like a hot drinks cup. So it's really nice to have like some hot drink, like a tea or coffee or some soup sometimes. So I put that in there in the same pocket as well. Another thing that is normally mandatory is a whistle, but these Salomon packs have one built in to the pack, so I just use that. Then you've got your main head torch. I'll just put it in this little kangaroo pouch. What else? Phone, fully charged phone with the emergency number of whatever country you're in, and also normally your race will provide you with an emergency number for the race director, so have those programmed in your phone before you start. Stuff that in the front usually. That's always quite comfortable, and it means that I can take photos really easily, and on these races I do quite like to. Right, next thing, a portable charger. This obviously isn't necessary, but if you're out for a long amount of time, I need to charge my watch along the way. So I always have my watch on like a navigation screen, so I download the GPX file for the race and follow it, and that drains the battery quite quickly. So on that main screen, I have battery level as a field, so I can always keep my eye on the battery level, and then once it gets to like 10%, I'll just whip this out and charge it up at an aid station, or just charge it up, put it in my pack, and keep running. So that's that, which I just put in the back here. Salt tablets. I take these salt stick caps, and it's got sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and some vitamin D as well, and it just helps to keep your salt levels topped up throughout the day, especially if it's a hot day. So I just like empty a few into a Ziploc bag. I normally take one every like 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours in the daytime in the heat, and then I just like squish that up into a little ball and then put it in this top pocket here. And along with that, put a lip balm, SPF, sun cream. Check the weather forecast for your race, you can put it on before you start, or I just take like this little thing just in case, because There is nothing worse than going out and just getting completely burnt. It just makes you feel terrible and just in so much pain the next day. It's really not worth it. So I think I actually just put that here. And then in that top pocket as well is some toilet roll, because you're probably going to need to go to the toilet at some point. So that goes in there, in a Ziploc bag as well, so you don't get your toilet paper wet. Headphones, I kind of just use them in case of emergency. Like if things get really tough, then I'll put them in. And I just use the ones on a wire, like not particularly good quality ones, just in case they get wrecked. And I don't really want to have to be worrying about like charging headphones. Another thing is a buff, which is a great piece of kit just to like regulate your temperature throughout the day. So I'll put that somewhere fairly easy to access in this little pocket here. Oh, another thing that's quite useful is having a spare bottle. Some races tell you that you have to carry a minimum of 1.5 litres, so you do actually need to have 3 bottles anyway, but I just put him in there. And then finally, for the pack, waterproof jacket. Again, that one just goes in the kangaroo pouch there. All my food I put in the front here. My phone is in there as well, but I normally put gels in the side that has my phone in, and then once I've taken one, it's all sticky and gross, then I put the rubbish in the other side so my phone doesn't get like all sticky and horrible. But in terms of like what types of food I tend to take, that's probably a whole nother video, but gels obviously, and then things like crisps, nuts, dried fruit, baby food can actually be quite nice. It's the kind of thing that you really need to just practice in training and find out what works well for you, find out what you can carry and what's comfortable. And you've also, of course, got the aid stations along the way, so figure out if you're going to take some stuff there. If I am taking poles for my race, I just carry them, because yeah, you can get like a quiver thing to put them in, but I don't know, I don't have that. In the past I have, if it's like a shorter race and I don't need as much stuff as this, I've like put them in the kangaroo bit at the bottom. But yeah, I just run with them like this, and like they're pretty lightweight. These are the, oh, they smell so bad. These are the Black Diamond Distance Z, not the carbon ones, like the heavy, cheaper version, but they've been amazing. Like, I've used them so much. Right, the next thing we're going to move on to is a drop bag. So if you're running something probably more than 100 kilometers, you'll normally get access to a drop bag at some point throughout the race. And that's just an opportunity for you to change your clothes, change your shoes, socks, refill or like restock your food supplies. I'm just going to show you what I tend to put in my drop bag. I normally just like use a kind of, what is it, like a drawstring bag. As I said, it's a good chance to change your clothes, especially if you're going into a night section. You might want to put some longer sleeve stuff on, so I normally put a long sleeve top and another short sleeve top. Even if the weather isn't going to change, it's still really nice to change your clothes. I always feel so much better when I do that. Just having some wipes just to like wipe everything down, wipe the salt off your face, wipe in between your toes if you're changing your socks and shoes. So yeah, spare pair of socks. I also put in this like squirrel's nut butter or Body Glide, which is just like an anti-chafe balm, just in case you get to your drop bag and you're like having some bad chafing anywhere. Like sometimes my pack chafes on my neck or like under your arms or between your legs. So that's just a good thing to throw in there as an emergency. The other thing is a spare pair of shoes. You might not want to change your shoes, and I would say to only change them if you're having an issue with the shoes that you're wearing, or if the terrain is going to change. Just make sure that if you are changing your shoes, you're changing into a pair that is actually slightly bigger. Like, I know shoes kind of fit slightly differently, like some are a bit tighter, some are a bit looser. Make sure it's a looser pair that you're putting on, because I've had it in the past where I've gone to change my shoes and I literally can't fit my foot into the pair of shoes because my feet are swollen up so much. And then I've struggled to get my foot back into the original. nightmare. So yeah, the third pair that I normally have is a pair of Ultras because they're really wide, and no matter what state my feet are in, they'll always be able to fit into those shoes. As I said before, just a good chance to restock any food, so you can split your race up, or like before your race, just kind of have a think about how many gels roughly you'll need for the first section, the second section, and just split it up. So you've got some in your drop bag, so you don't have to completely overburden yourself by carrying it all. Obviously, if you've got a crew with you, that's great, and you might not need to carry that much. But yeah, hopefully this is just showing you that you can be as self-sufficient as possible. Right, well, that is it. I hope you found that useful. I know when I first started running these ultras, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I have all my food in the back and I would just forget about it, and then I'd wonder why I'm feeling like absolute crap. Put your food in the front and anything else that you want quick and easy access to, so that you can eat on the go, and make it as easy as possible for yourself to eat, because that's going to be the difference between feeling good and feeling rubbish. And if you're feeling rubbish, it's very hard to keep going. So food in the front. Let me know what's going on with you. What races have you got coming up? We got sent a very promising email from Centurion the other day to say that they're pretty much certain that their races are going to go ahead, so that's really exciting, because the next race I'm training for is the Chiltern Wonderland 50 in September. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see all the measures that they put in place to kind of comply with the government guidelines and social distancing and all that stuff, so that'll be very exciting. Let me know what you've got coming up. Let me know if you want any help with anything, and I'll get it filmed for you. See you next time. Bye.